Hello everyone, my name's Ashenova and welcome to my channel. This is mainly going to be a laid-back gaming channel. I just want to grow kind of a happy community that enjoys games and enjoys talking, laying back, and chilling together. This is my first time making YouTube content, so please bear with me. Today we're going to play Oxygen Not Included. It's one of my favorite resource management games. It tends to be pretty hard. I'm going to be sharing my seed. If you've never played the game before, it's a really fun game. If you have played the game before and you're just looking for content for it, welcome to the channel. Feel free to subscribe if you enjoy the content. And yeah, let's get right into it. Welcome to Oxygen Not Included. This is how the game starts up. I'll be playing off of a DLC called Spaced Out. I don't play on any of the other DLCs. I might in the future, but I'm going to be mainly playing on the Spaced Out DLC. I'm going to start a new game, and you can all watch along, and hopefully we don't die right away. Always play on Survival, Classic. I always rotate this a few times, but I'm not going to be working on trying to get like a super strong duplicate to start out, or a super strong, or a really good asteroid to start out. I'm just going to be playing the game with this. So if you want the seed, here it is. I'm going to copy this so I can put this in the description in case anyone wants to play along. Okay. Do game settings. I always leave the game settings as neutral. I don't try to buff up the game anymore. And we're just going to start. Now, a thing that can take a while is getting like really good duplicates at the beginning. So like people with mole hands or science plus 13. I'm not going to be doing any of that. We'll just get general, normal duplicates as long as they're not bottomless stomachs and as long as they're not mouth breathers. I think we'll be good. When I play, I typically go a researcher, a digger, and a supplier. Suppliers are surprisingly good because, especially in the early game, because having a really quick duplicate is really good. And I usually use suit wearing for that. So let's do researcher. As long as we have a good researcher. It's 9, uncultured, plant murder. That's fine for a researcher. So we'll do Joshua. We'll do digger. Well, actually, builder's more important than digger, in my opinion. Slow learner kind of sucks, but it's not that bad. Food morale bonus is good. We'll have high construction. And we're also going to get a suit wearer. Athletics, loud sleeper. We won't do loud sleeper. I don't like playing with allergies. Bottomless stomach. This is a really bad trait to have. Mainly because when you're managing calories in the game, if you've not seen the game before, this is a pretty important thing to manage as your calories. Super hard digging is a good trait to start with, but I'll skip that. Animal lover, decreased cuisine, increased food morale. I don't think any of these guys are going to be my chef long term, so this is good. Alright, so we got Joshua, Mary, and Harold. I always name my colony, and I name my duplicates too. Let's think of a theme. I like doing chemistry themes, so the lab. Might get lab, Joshua. What should we do, Joshua? He's a researcher. So we'll do Joshua. He'll be hydrogen. Mary, she builds stuff. Builds and digs. So we can do carbon. Carbon's fine. And Harold, he is fast as lightning, so he'll be helium. We could make a rocketeer. Helium makes sense because helium likes to go up, but we'll do hydrogen, carbon, helium. That looks good to me. So the lab, and we're going to go ahead and embark. Whenever starting out a new game, I like to pause and look around. I like the idea of where I'm planning to put stuff. There's a lot of water beneath us, which is good. Water being down tends to be good instead of above your head. This water above my head is a little bit annoying, but we'll work around it. I see some copper over here. We're going to need that, and we're going to need some of this water down here. So I'm going to get them to digging over here, and one of them to dig over here. I'd like not to drop that water, actually. We're going to dig them a bit more across, because we need that dirt over there, too. You need dirt for researching, and you'll see that later. But we'll get this copper. this silvery stuff that shines, is copper. We need that to make a lot of machines. So when you go ahead and start playing, essentially you're going to do is you're going to dig and you're going to find resources that you want. And when you click play, they're going to go ahead and dig those resources. And then you can use those resources to build stuff. So that's what we're going to be doing. This isn't going to be a tutorial of the game. If I were to do a tutorial of the game, it would be much more long and drawn out. We're just going to play it and see how far I can get. I want to try to get to space by maybe cycle 100-ish. I tend to make this first room my research room, mainly because this is a light source, and using it as a light source gives a better rate of research, and having a high rate of research I think is pretty good. We're going to make this room pretty big. I'll build some ladders. Got 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Wall, ladder. So we're going to build some ladders up here. And build out a little room out here. We're going to go ahead and speed up the game, just so it's not so slow. Typically, in the first few cycles, I like to play at like 1x speed, but for the sake of everyone else's time, we're just going to play fast. I should be able to do this. We already have a hatch, which is a little bit annoying. We might do a hatch farm early on. We'll see. We're going to make a pretty robust ladder system. The few things that we need now is we need water, so we need to siphon this water down here. I might actually just go to plumbing, use a bit of our sandstone to hold the water pump right here. A few things that we need right now is we need water, we need outhouses, and we need power. And beds. We'll do beds too. I guess we need oxygen also. You'll see oxalate gives out a good amount of oxygen for the start of the game. This is actually emitting oxygen, as you can see, about like around 200 to 300 grams per second. And that's good enough to keep them alive right now, but we will need a power source in order to make sure that they have enough oxygen. 2, 3, 4. I like making my rooms 4 high. 2, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to go ahead and we'll probably put our bedrooms right here. Alright. We're almost a cycle over. We need to do a few more things. We need toilets. So, put our outhouse. Put that high. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to want to put 2 of them at least. And get a medicine. And get a wash basin. This should be sufficient. While they're still doing stuff, I'll build a door here, 1, 2, 3, and a door here. Should be fine. I left a little bit of oxalate in the room. That way I don't have to worry about oxygen generation as early on. This will essentially be a ladder ring later. This is just a portable toilets for now. We're going to set this to left. That way they only use the sink when going left from the toilet. Alright, so now I'm going to get into fixing their schedule. Typically when starting out the game, I let them work a little bit over. For example, this is what a normal schedule is supposed to look like. 2 downtimes, 3 bedtimes. They stopped right there. I'm going to get them stopping in the morning. I'll give them 1 downtime, sleep, and then bath time. The other thing you can do is you can just press this little arrow to adjust it. And I make sure they shift about 2 by 2. The first cycle tends to be a bit harder than the rest, just because you want to hit some colony goals. Let's see. Helium is my fast one. I'll have helium on the bottom. Carbon isn't researching yet because we have some work to do. So I have hydrogen on there. Okay, so that's scheduling. We have everyone ready. they'll be working for a little bit more. We need to figure out where we're going to put our power generation. I'm thinking down right here. It's going to be a temporary power situation. So this is also where we're going to be making our oxygen. So making our oxygen a little bit lower at the beginning of the game tends to be pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's good enough to get going. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to building rooms like this. I want them all done just right. It really helps in the late game. It really helps in the late game to have good infrastructure in the beginning of the game. So, power, manual generator. Well, I'll start with this thing. Actually, I'm going to move that one over. Power. There it is. Manual generator. We'll move this one over. A battery right here. And that's because I want to have an oxygen diffuser closer to the door, so the oxygen will get closer to this ladder. Put that off in a battery. Cool. And for cycle 1, this is pretty good to have a research station. I'm not sure if this is considered a latrine yet. A research room. We're getting ready to build power. We have barracks. So I think that's pretty good for cycle 1. I'd like to get research done during cycle 1, but I'm focusing more on infrastructure right now. I think it really depends on what your priorities are. But I've learned a lot playing this game a lot that infrastructure at the beginning of the game really important because things get out of hand really fast. I'm going to put this a higher priority so they build this door so they still get the barracks bonus. I'm trying to make sure that I'm managing their stress along with everything else. Yeah, okay. So this is where we're at cycle 1, or starting cycle 2. We have the outhouses, we have the power room, we're starting on that. We have the barracks. I'm going to stop him from running on this wheel until the battery is up. And here we go. We have the power room up. That priority back's at 5, so they start doing it. And we're going to start research. So research is really important. It lets you build more things in the game. You can get all the way to rockets, but what we're going to focus on right now is food. Because having food production early on is pretty important. Food, very important. If you don't have it, your duplicates die, and we can't have that. I think where the water basin is going to eventually end up is down here. It's going to be really annoying to dig that. Usually building the water basin is a very long project. And I like to have it done before I get better toilets. Yeah, I think a ladder system down here, just a temporary ladder system, just to get it done. They already started research and they're already going idle. So I'm going to build a ladder system about right here. Just to get the water basin going. I'm fine with this taking many, many cycles to get done. We're going to build another cot preemptively up here. We need a place for the farm. Having the farm pretty close to home is sometimes a pretty good idea. And we're going to keep the farm's height. I think a farm over here is good. And I'm just going to let them dig for a bit and work for a bit. So they got their work cut out for them. Hydrogen here just finished his research again. So we're going to go ahead and move him to... We don't need the supercomputer just yet. We don't need the plumbing just yet. We don't need the light sources just yet. But what I want to do is, because they get a lot of free time, is I'm going to give them the rock crusher. Now that they've researched food, I can make the farm tile, and one space for the door. And we're going to do right here. And by cycle 2, this is what it looks like. It looks really close to cycle 1, but we've got some more organization going on. We know we're going to put the water basin, so we have them digging down there. We got the farm being created over here. We're going to increase our barracks up here. And we got research going, so I think that's a pretty successful cycle 2. Now cycle 3 has started. Now in 0.6 or 0.5 cycles now, we are going to get a new duplicate. Exciting. There is a glitch in this game that allows you to unload and reload the save to reset what duplicate you're going to get. I'm not going to be doing that. I might show it off at some point, but I'm not going to do it today. We're just going to play a pure vanilla profile. Some people call this playing at hard difficulty. I'm just going to play it and do what the game gives me. Hydrogen finished his research again. We have the Rock Crusher here. Let's do this, just so it's done and out of the way. We're going to need the lights for food later, and I always like having automation pretty early. Automation's pretty useful. It's not going to be useful just yet, but it will be useful. I don't see a good spot for the Rock Crusher. Maybe over here? I would say probably right here is the best spot for the Rock Crusher right now. That's close enough to the power, and they can actually get to it. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Refinement. Oh, I heard the sound. Right, wants to put my Rock Crusher down too. I'm going to have them take this. And we're going to go to see who we have as our next duplicate. They both have +9 to machinery, which can be good. It's actually okay to get these guys pretty earlier in the game. Mainly for the purposes of getting a, what is it called? A mechatronics engineer. Because that tends to be something you want to get around cycle 50. So having one early game is good. Unpracticed artist, I like this skill because it gives an increased morale bonus, and creativity only becomes a thing if they're an artist. Green thumb for increased agriculture, I think that's okay because we need a farmer anyway. Morning bonus, I think that's good because we need someone to work. He's probably going to be working mornings anyway. So he's a mechanist. What's a good element for that? Do iron. There we go. Iron. Oh, no. Actually, copper. He's copper. Hello, copper. You're joining us. And copper joins the fray. First thing we're going to do is make this higher priority so they build the bed. You can always check the priority in this game if you're not used to the game. It'll show you what their priorities are in building stuff. You can customize their priorities too by going to this Manage Priorities tab, but you can set each of their individual priorities higher or lower. Like right down here, here's Copper's priorities, but you can make operating a higher skill for him. But we're not going to do that. I tend not to do that until pretty later on, mainly because sometimes I'll get stuck doing one task and nothing will ever get done. But what we will do is fix his schedule. Every time we get a new duplicate, they go to whatever the default schedule is. We're going to make a new schedule for him since he likes working in the mornings. Add new schedule. Put on copper. And we'll set this as the schedule. So there we go. Just copy schedule. We'll put this to work right now. It is a good idea to have 2 downtimes, but in the beginning, since we want a lot of work done, we're going to do 1 downtime. It tends not to be an issue. The one other thing we can do with Copper right now is we can give him a skill. Each duplicate has their own little skill tree. I'm thinking of just giving him improved tinkering. With the hope that Helium, we're going to use him for farming, just because he's athletics right now, and we're going to use him for tinkering. The reason I want a farmer sooner rather than later is for critter ranching, and this tends to be really, really helpful to get done early game rather than later game. Well, no rush. We're not rushing things. Right now, Copper is our engineer. He's going to be operator, and we're going to give him his hat. There we go. And here we go. Watch him get his skill. And he gets his nice little hat. There he goes. Off to work. Hydrogen finished research again. And this is the end of cycle 3. So we didn't get too much farther. We have a new duplicate. That's a plus. We have this done. Then new cot. We have a bunch of research done. Research tends to slow down a lot of progress in the game because you have one less duplicate working, but it gives you more stuff to build. So it's kind of a risk-reward doing it early. I like doing it as early as possible. That way you can get to more advanced structures. We're doing pretty good on the farm. We're at 16,615 calories, which is pretty close to what you start the game with. We're going to have to start planting. We'll probably just start with mealwood. I don't like mealwood as a food option because it uses dirt, but you have enough dirt at the beginning of the game to get, like, I'd say 500 cycles of mealwood going. But we will not be on mealwood on cycle 500. If I am, I'm sorry, but I don't think that's happening. I tend to move to Bristle Blossoms pretty early, but I'm just going to take it slow this time. I might not jump right to Bristle Blossoms because they do take water and light. Light I'm not worried about, but water, it will be a resource that I'm going to be managing carefully. So, what we're going to do at the beginning of cycle 4 is we're going to go ahead and set research. They're about to get their own skill points, so I'm going to get the advanced research station. So Hydrogen can become a scientist, and we can also turn this into a laboratory. I'm going to show you that after he gets going. Something that we can't help right now is temperature. Everything you see with like the fire outline creates more heat, and the hotter the place gets, the worse it is for crops. So we're going to be managing that. Man, Hydrogen he just keeps researching. Dang, he is so fast at it. We're going to get, I'd say, liquids. I think it's about the time to research liquids. And we're also going to get some mealwood going. Plant. What I like to do is copy setting, and then you can just go across it like this. It's a lot faster. And I'm just going to let them work for a bit, and we'll probably cut back when they get considerable amount of stuff done. Okay, zoomed a bit into the future. We got a good amount of stuff done. They finished their research for the plumbing. We have the rock crusher built. They have the farm finished. They're going to need more mealwood seeds, but we'll find more as we're digging. To find mealwood seeds, you look for these little cracked blocks. And if you hover over them, they say buried objects. And usually in the starting biome, digging these up, they'll either give you mealwood seeds or hatches or some other material. But they need mealwood seeds to keep going here. But I'm not too worried about it. They're digging down a bit further. There's a slime biome down here. I've got some ideas what I want to do with there, but that's probably going to be a lot later. And we have some of them that are idle. And this only happens when they have finished all their tasks. So we're going to give them some more tasks. We're going to make some copper. I like to start out with about, let's say, six copper. Let's see, need 1, 2, 3, 4 for the smart battery, and then for the automation, you're going to need a couple more. So let's go 8. Let's use 8. I don't like using the rock crusher too much because it doesn't have really good efficiency with your copper, but you got to start somewhere. We're going to continue the research. Yeah, we'll need ventilation. Since we have a slime biome down there, I want to make sure I get the deodorizer. No one has any skill points yet. They get skill points just by doing tasks, so eventually they'll just get more. We might start digging up a bit more. So yeah, we'll let them do that. Another thing I like to look for at the beginning of the game is a stretch like this. 1, 2, 3, 4 plants right here in a row, which is pretty good because we can make this into a nature preserve later. Usually I like to find these early on. I forgot to. I forgot to a little earlier. But this is a good place for a nature preserve. So ultimately, their bedrooms might be over here because I like them to wake up, walk through a nature preserve because that gives them a really good morale bonus, and then get to work. So we'll see. We'll see what that turns into. But yeah, I got some more work cut out for them, and we're going to let them go. We see Copper with operating. He's working on the rock crusher, and this bar shows you how usually it doesn't fall up this fast, but since he's got like a really high operating skill, he does this like really fast, so that's good. And if you're astute, you'll see that we got this new resource, copper. You can't see on the ground here, but that's what it looks like. I'm going to go to see all and go to copper. And we're going to mark this as a resource that I see. I'll do copper ore too, because sometimes you'd run low on this and you don't see it. But keeping a good eye on how much metals you have lets you know how much you can build of something, so I'll keep a good eye on that. And this is where we are on Cycle 5. Cycle 5 just started to begin. But yeah, we're almost dug down to this water area. This is kind of acting as a carbon sink, so they'll slowly get this done. But no rush, again. I'm starting pretty early on on the water reservoir. Digging up here, no rush. I have a ladder right there. You do, silly me. Ooh. Hydrogen just earned a skill point. So what we're going to do is we'll go to skills, just like we did before. And we are going to give him the advanced research skill. He likes researching, so that gives him a morale boost to doing this. It's less of a morale boost, and it's like a not deficit. So he still gets the negative, but he also gets 1+. You can see that by it says skills learn. It's morale need +1, but then skill he's interested in +1, so it evens itself out. And we are going to build the supercomputer. I probably should have built this earlier, but supercomputer. I'm going to build it right here. Just so it's closer to the water. They need water to run the supercomputer. We're going to hook up to the power grid right there. And here we go. Once they build this room is going to be considered a research room. What is it actually called? A laboratory. And it gives them a little bit of bonus. Now, I'm using this thing to give as a free light source to one. It'll give a little bonus to him working. You'll see it says a lit workspace, which makes him work a bit faster. But it's also a requirement for the laboratory. So that's why I like building my lab right here next to the printing pod. And he is caught up on research. We can do advanced research now if we want to. We're going to get more power generation, so we're going to go all the way over to here. And we're just going to let the dupes go ahead and do their stuff. We got some more work done. They finished making all the copper. I asked them to make 8 things of copper, so we have 400 kilograms of pure refined copper. They got a little bit of the ladder done. They finished the supercomputer. They finished 2 sets of... Why is copper researching? He should be hydrogen researching. I guess it doesn't have a lot to do. But that's fine. We got 2 sets of research done, and now we're the last thing of research. It's starvation there for a second. I guess they couldn't get to the food fast enough. His little hungry tummy. But yeah, we are doing pretty good. Someone just earned a skill point. Actually, yeah, Helium. Helium earned a skill point. Now, Helium, he's at suit wearing. He likes his suit wearing skill, which gives higher athletics, which we like. But we're actually going to give him improved farming, because we need a critter rancher. And he's the one that we're going to designate as the critter rancher. And now for Carbon's skill point. Oh, they're both researching. Look at them. They really like researching. Since the supercomputer was built, if you go to the room overlay, this is now a laboratory, which is really nice because we don't have to power a light for this to be a laboratory. Okay, so Carbon skills. So let's go ahead, manage their skill points. Carbon, I'm going to need them to have super hard digging. Having a builder digger tends to be a really good trait. If we don't have hard digging early in the game, it can be a bit more strenuous in terms of space or to getting somewhere. So we're just going to give them hard digging to start out. We just won't think too hard about it. Super sorry, I forgot to dismiss all these annoying messages. I don't need the tutorials. And we got a new blueprint. So let's see who we get this time. Okay. Pacifist, unempathetic, green thumb, gourmet, athletics, and strength. Versus interior decorator, biohazardous with machine, creativity, strength. I don't like this one too much. Typically, I like to use ones with like many different skills for like space missions. But having interior decorator means that they're going to have a higher need for decor that's going to get stressed out. Plus, I like having a researcher in space, so I'm not going to use him. Athletics and strength's pretty good. Unempathetic, decreased method doesn't end up doing much. Pacifist, attacking isn't a super common skill. Athletics and strength, I really like. Green thumb's good. We have another agriculture, and I think this is a really good chef. I mean, they like supplying. They're pretty quick. They have increased cuisine, and they have agriculture. So this could be my chef. So Bubbles, what is a good chef? I always make them sodium, like sodium chloride. Or salt. There we go. We're going to rub with their tummy. Yeah, they're born to be a chef. Let's go sodium. Happy birthday. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and fix their schedule. Never forget fixing schedules, or you get a new duplicate in the colony. Here's what we'll do. Copper down here. Move sodium up here. We'll make the match real quick. There we go. So now it's kind of incrementing at 2 at a time. I like it. Okay. And one other thing we have to do is we have to manage sodium skill points. Now, they like cooking, and well, they don't like cooking actually, but they're going to have to. We don't need to cook anything just yet. We're not there yet, so we're just going to hold on to the skill point. You don't have to use your skill points right away. And we're also going to make this bed a higher priority, so sodium has a place to sleep. One thing you also might want to think about once you get more duplicates is we're going to need more oxygen generation, and maybe make another toilet, because if they don't have a toilet, you won't be happy, they won't be happy, no one will be happy. And I'm thinking of actually building the other oxygen generator down here so we can get them to work a bit easier. So let's make this as easy as possible. This is going to be a temporary oxygen generator. Building these temporary structures is a little bit annoying, mainly because you know you're going to have to break them in the future. But it's not that bad. I mean, they're going to need oxygen down here, and, you know, there's just a bunch of carbon dioxide. They won't like working. So we'll just make it a little bit easier for us down the road. This is the type of thing that gets, when I'm playing, me stuck up a little bit, because I want to, like, okay, let's go. Let's just go and do the hard thing. I don't care if they're going to be uncomfortable for a bit, but we're going to take our time with things, and we're just going to build an oxygen diffuser so they can actually breathe down here and do the work. And we're going to put all this to a higher priority because I want this to get done. He finally finished his research for the smart battery. One thing that's concerning me, though, right now, is that we're at 9,000 calories. Remember earlier, we were at 16,000 calories. It's just been just a few cycles. We have more mouths to feed, and our calories are going down. So that's a little bit alarming. So we're going to see if we can get mealwood going a bit faster. If we go to priorities, we're actually going to, which duplicate is this? Athletics 9. So this is going to be our helium. We're going to get farming a higher priority for him, so he makes sure to maintain this. And we're also going to have to dig out some more mealwood. Bristle blossom. There's a couple pieces of mealwood over here. A bunch of bristle blossoms too. So we're going to actually prioritize going over here and getting these mealwoods. As an emergency food backup, this hatch is looking pretty tasty. So we'll see. Oh, here's another thing you can get for food. These muck roots that are laying around all over the place. We can just dig them up, and that's some free calories right there. They finished the oxygen diffuser, and you'll see this little red mark underneath of it. That means someone needs to deliver something to it, and right now it needs some algae. Otherwise, it's not going to produce any oxygen. And I'm not sure why they don't want to give it algae. Does it have algae now? What's wrong with it? No one's giving it algae. We need to give it some algae, guys. There we go. We might actually be low on algae. Let's look at our resources. Algae. We are out of algae. So that's another thing that I wasn't aware of, that we weren't digging enough algae. There's a lot of algae up here. Some algae down here. This actually, I didn't notice how little algae is actually here. There's a good way to see how much algae. Go to Materials, Overlay, go to Organic. And here is all the algae we have. In the slime biome, we get a lot more. But in our natural biome, we are a little tight on it. There's a high density algae right here, which we are eventually digging to, so no rush on that. But we might just have to dig up what algae we have access to down here to last us a while. So here's the start of cycle 7. They're still digging up to here, which is good. We finally dig down to here. So we can eventually get started working on the water basin. We have an algae problem, which ends up being an oxygen problem down the road. And we've got a pretty good amount of research done. So that might be it where this episode's sitting. So next episode, we're probably going to focus on building the water basin and all the tribulations that come with that. We're going to focus on getting more algae up here. We're going to focus on getting more mealwood because we are actually incredibly low on mealwood seeds. We have a good amount of water we have not tapped into yet, so maybe next episode we might get some plumbing done. So yeah, that's it for episode 1. Thank you very much. This is Ashenova, and if you liked the video, subscribe. Have a good day. Peace.